If you live in central North Carolina, you've probably seen one of these trains. If not, then these are Amtrak's Piedmont trains, jointly owned by both NCDOT and Amtrak. So how did these trains come to be? The Piedmont was originally a freight service run by NCDOT, Amtrak, Norfolk Southern, and the North Carolina Rail Service. The train was mainly run by two GP40PH-2s, 1792 and 1768. These units would never leave North Carolina, with only a few exceptions. In the early 1990s, Amtrak, NCDOT, and the North Carolina Rail Service began working together to make the Piedmont a passenger service. Many things would need to be done in order to make sure that this could happen. To start, a route would need to be selected. It was chosen that the train would run from the state's capital, Raleigh, to Charlotte, the state's largest city. The train would also serve Cary, Durham, Burlington, Greensboro, High Point, Salisbury, Kannapolis, and finally, Charlotte. The inaugural run would happen on May 26, 1995, getting to Charlotte in the morning and going back to Raleigh at night. This would only be the start of an iconic train. Obviously, the train would need locomotives to operate. NCDOT decided to use the two GP40PH-2 units for the train. Test runs needed to be performed on the units. 1792 was tested first, and its results proved well, so it was guaranteed to run the train. Its sister 1768, however, would be a different story. 1768 rode roughly and had multiple issues pulling passengers. After careful analysis, it was determined the cause of 1768's rough riding was due to the unit being used for heavy freight, not lightweight passenger coaches. The units would finally receive names. 1792 would be given the title City of Raleigh, while 1768 would be titled City of Charlotte. These units, following a long old tradition, would start out in different places, with 1792 starting out in Raleigh and 1768 starting out in Charlotte. The train would be a daily train, running in the morning and at night. Many believed the train was practically bound to make money. However, problems with the Piedmont had begun to arise well before the train was actually put into service. Amtrak initially didn't want to help with the train, claiming that they didn't have enough extra rolling stock and locomotives to use. Another problem was the fact that Charlotte Union Station wasn't built to turn around equipment, so it would cause issues when getting ready to turn around. The Carolinian, which ran to Charlotte Union Station, often deadheaded 10 miles up the line to the nearest Y, turn around there, and then return to the station. Norfolk Southern would build the Y, and for a while the Piedmont wouldn't have any accidents, incidents, or problems. But the Piedmont's first accident would happen in 1997. In June 1997, an Amtrak Piedmont train was entering Eflin, North Carolina. A man in a Toyota Camry was driving to a railroad crossing, but sped up when he saw the gate starting to lower. He almost got over the crossing, but the train caught the back of the car, spinning it to the side of the right-of-way. The man was severely injured. 1792, which was leading, had minor damage, while the car was totaled. The train ended up delayed, and passengers would be put onto another train to get to their destinations. It is unknown if the drivers survived. This would be the first incident with the Piedmont. On a higher note, that year the Piedmont and Carolinian would begin service to Cary, North Carolina. In 1998, though, Piedmont saw a large decline in passengers, which made the budget even more tight. NCDOT hadn't ordered another locomotive, which was an EMD FD9PHI, but because of the budget, it could not be purchased. As the Piedmont moved into 1998, the budget was getting smaller and smaller. It was that year when NCDOT decided to remove 1768 from its roster due to them not being able to pay for its maintenance. 1768 was towed on a Norfolk Southern train and put into storage. It was announced you would not be returning to service. However, one good thing did come out of this. Because 1768 was stored, NCDOT could afford the F-59 PHI mentioned earlier. This unit would be given the number 1797, and it was named City of Asheville. As the years progressed, so did the Piedmont. To start, NCDOT placed an order for roughly 204 new coaches, which would be delivered in about 2001. This finally allowed them to replace the older coaches such as the Mount Mitchell and other coaches. 1768 had been sitting in the NCDOT yard for 2 years collecting windows, so it was finally moved and sold at an NCDOT auction to Virginia Railway Express. VRE changed the number to V24 and named it City of Manassas. In 2002, NCDOT proposed that a new Piedmont train be created to connect Asheville and the National Rail System. This new train would run twice like the Piedmont, once in the morning and once at night, with service branching off at Salisbury and continuing to Statesville, Hickory, Valdez, Morganton, Marion, Old Fort, Black Mountain, and finally Asheville. However, this plan fell through due to the tracks needing to be upgraded from Salisbury to Asheville. In February 2002, NCDOT purchased another EMD F-59 PHI. It was numbered 1755 and named City of Salisbury. However, in 2005, this unit would be involved in the second Piedmont accident. On September 24th, 2005, a Piedmont train with 1755 leading struck a boat trailer in Charlotte. 1755 was okay, but the nose was totaled, so the nose cone was removed, eventually repaired in 2009. In 2007, the GP40H-2 was discontinued in North America, putting 1792 at risk if it were damaged or derailed. When 2008 rolled around, 1792 would go on an out-of-state adventure. 1792 would lead Amtrak 91, the Silver Star, to Miami, Florida, on April 18, 2008. 1792, however, after the trip, would break down, causing it to be sent to Beech Grove shops in Indiana until April 31st. (1792's career would end tragic. On May 13, 2010, at 8 a.m. in Mebane, North Carolina, a truck driver driving a lowboy truck ignored a sign warning low-bed trucks may get stuck. The truck did get stuck, and eventually the gate started to go down. There, barreling down the tracks, 1792, carrying a rake of freshly painted coaches. The engineer blew the horn desperately, threw the train into emergency, but it was much too late. 1792 struck the truck, which was carrying an excavator. The locomotive rode up the flatbed, eventually derailing. 1792 burst into flames, releasing fuel into the soil, which would cause permanent soil damage in Mebane. Luckily, the fire department was nearby, so they were able to respond rather quickly. Passengers were escorted onto buses and later refunded their ticket. During removal by Norfolk Southern, the cab collapsed, which damaged the unit even more. It was believed that 1792 would return to service soon. However, it was found that the unit had frame damage, which is basically a death sentence to locomotives. NCDOT would later put out a statement citing that, to whom it concerns, we are announcing our iconic City of Raleigh train was involved in the crash in Mebane a few months ago, and our effort in repairing her was unsuccessful, and it has come to this. She has been retired and will be scrapped starting tomorrow. We should be expecting several new engines by late next year. 1792 would return from Beech Grove, efforts to save it unsuccessful. Over the next few days, she was gutted and eventually scrapped. This would be the end of an iconic chapter of the Piedmont. NCDOT was now in a really weird spot. They needed new locomotives, otherwise the Piedmont would fade into the history books. So in 2011, NCDOT ordered F-59 PHs from Go Transit to help with the trains. Numbers 1869, City of Durham, and 1893, City of Burlington, would enter service in 2011, whilst 1810, City of Greensboro, and 1859, City of High Point, would enter service in 2012. Also in 2012, the first and only instance of a locomotive being scrapped, but a new one being ordered to supplement it would occur with the Piedmont. A Piedmont train was moving through Jamestown, North Carolina. A limestone truck got stuck on the tracks, and 1893 would hit it, destroying it. Because of this, the original 1893 was completely destroyed. But luckily, NCDOT had another F59PH, so this became the replacement for 1893. 1810 was trailing on this train, but it was not damaged. In 2013, the Piedmont Improvement Program began. This plan would eliminate some railroad crossings, upgrade tracks, and even rebuild Raleigh Union Station. By 2014, the Piedmont was one of Amtrak's most successful trains. In 2016, NCDOT began to experiment with cab car control units, or CCUs. So they purchased 5X GO trains and F59PHs. After a year and a few months of experimenting, in 2017, the CCUs were complete. Numbered 101 to 105, these units would be put into service in late 2017 and 2018. They were unique because they didn't have names, only numbers. Also in 2017 were two brand new F59PHs. First to debut was 1984, City of Kannapolis. This unit was also given the name Bud Marlin. Next was 1871, Town of Cary, the first unit to be named after a town. 2018 would see the rebuilding of Raleigh Union Station finally be complete. 2019 would be the best year of the 2010s for the Piedmont. To start, the FRA gave NCDOT $76.9 million to order 13 new coaches. This allowed the Piedmont to expand to 4 daily trains, 4 during the week and 4 after dark. The trains that would depart from Raleigh would be numbered 71, 73, 75, and 77, whilst trains departing Charlotte would be numbered 72, 74, 76, and 78. On May 18, 2020, a new era would arise. NCDOT announced that the Piedmont would be suspended due to a certain virus infecting the world. This now meant that the Carolinian, after a month-long suspension, of course, was the only link between Raleigh and Charlotte. Luckily, on August 10th, the Piedmont would return with a single round trip, and by 2021, all 4 trains would be back in service. So, what's the Piedmont today? Well, the Piedmont is one of Amtrak's most successful trains, and it continues to keep on moving. And it's going to continue that way, as it remains a vital link between the capital city of North Carolina and the largest city in North